Hoarders, buried alive. Oh no. You're like, no, they're just like, oh yeah. So when we went down for hurricane relief down in Texas, Johnny, do you guys all know Johnny Christian? You do, yeah. So we mucked out, so like literally this house that was a hoarder, and it was like the most disgusting thing. Anyway, I think Johnny was gonna barf, like, because there's so many, like, because it was like wet, humid, and like it was just stacks and piles of books and clothes, and like just like we found dead animals underneath like the stuff that was there, and it was disgusting. uh, is that right? Josh, push OK. It says this has been signed. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's real stuff. Yep. Okay. Hi, everybody. We haven't started yet. I guess we should start. So, Sue. Hi, Sue. Been a long time. Dixie, I don't know you, but hello. Rena. And who else do we have? Where? What? Oh, I see. No, I see. It's just different when I'm not on my computer. There we go. Ruth, Dixie, Nate, is that right? All right. Okay. Well, we'll get started, you guys. So welcome, and please feel free to like jump on, ask questions. I just am here to tell you what I do as a, like with staging, and you guys are welcome to ask any questions, or if you want to just chat with me like another time, you're welcome to just message me directly too. So I'm Jackie Peterson, and I have been an agent for 5 years. And the best part about real estate is that you can create so many different things and you can focus on so many different things, and that's what I love about it. There are people who focus on commercial or multi-unit or land or whatever, and you can like become 10 different like professions just in one, and that's what I love about this. So hey, welcome. So one thing that I really love to focus on is just the home staging aspect, because a lot of times I found that with my sellers, they'd come in and they would want to sell their home for top dollar, because we are in a market right now where you can get your home for top dollar. Yet I feel like sometimes their expectations are a little unrealistic when their home doesn't look very nice. And we have to keep that in mind as we are pulling together our numbers. And so in this market, I think it's just as important to stage a home as it is in a down market. And so this is something that I do for all of my listings. I do staging for every single one. So it depends on how much I do depending on the home. And so, but I'll do anywhere from light staging of just literally being there the day of photos and putting little things like, you know, taking things out of photos or putting things inside photos that are small little trinkets. So, but first I wanted to kind of just start off and go through you guys like some of the things that I do and some of the like rules of staging, just to kind of give you a breakdown. So, come on. There we go. All right, so we have 5 rules of home staging. Number 1, and we'll go through these individually, and I'll just kind of tell you stories and things that have helped me. So number 1 is declutter. These are all things that you as agents can prep your buyers for, or your sellers for, that you don't have to do and you don't have to put money into. And so these are the tips that I'm going to give other realtors, that you don't feel like you have to go and invest in a lot of like staging equipment. I have, just because it's important to me, and it's just something I really like to do. I just it gives me an excuse to change out my furniture every couple months. No, I'm just kidding. So the first one is declutter. Second, remove personal items. Third, think like an outsider or a buyer. Fourth, repaint the walls. And fifth, focus on important areas. So let's go into the first one, declutter. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have all probably walked through plenty of homes and you've seen what clutter can do to a house. I just put a cute little before and after up because I feel like this is a good representation of how different a room can feel with and without clutter. And this is just everyday clutter. It's not like it's this is a hoarder's home. This is actually just what you would normally see. But if you were to walk into the left side, the before, you'd feel like, okay, this is an okay home. Or if you saw those photos online, it would be one of those things where you're like, oh, maybe we should go see this house. But on the right-hand side, you feel a little bit better. You see that it's clean, it's a neutral space, it's a space where it's inviting. Because I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but when I go into a messy home, I feel uninvited. Do you guys ever find that? Yeah. Yeah. I think that like it's hard. So one thing that I tell my clients is, anything that looks crammed or squished or like it's covering a table or covering a countertop, get it out, right? We want to make sure that everything looks like it has a place. So that is one of the things I always tell people. I say, so whatever you have in your house, take out 2/3 of it and keep 1/3 of it. And that's what we want for pictures. So I say, go get a storage unit, go put it in your garage. Garages are great. People understand that they're sometimes temporary storage units. But really, if you can have them get a storage unit, I usually tell them to prep for photos, take out 2/3 of the house. and I say that very lovingly because I just want their house to make it look like everything has a place. And that just depends on how much stuff they really have and how small or how large their space is. And so make sure that you really like help your people learn like just how to declutter. And I've even gone through the extent of like going in and tagging things with like painter's tape of like, get rid of, I don't want this, depending on how involved they want to be. If they don't want to be involved, then I also respect that as well. Okay, next, remove your personal items, okay? You see in the first picture, no, go ahead. Oh, I need you to get the microphone, yeah. I don't want people online to miss out and not hear what you have to say. Hopefully that works. I don't know if it's, I'll try the other one too.
There we go.
That working? Okay, good.
Do you recommend repainting the whole wall? Like, is touch-ups noticeable?
So that's a good question. I'll get to that when we get to the painting. But no, you're fine. And that's a good question because there's a lot of different types of paint out there and ways to paint. So we'll go through that. So on this one, we're talking about like removing the personal items. So what do you guys see in the first one? Pictures, blankets. You have, if you can, it's really dark on here, but it has Broncos. It has a big football picture. If somebody wasn't into that, like, how excited would they be about that room? Yeah, or if it's not their team, right? So what I want to say is like, go in and help them understand like depersonalization. You see the picture on the left, they used pretty much everything like within the room. They just took out stuff. They just took out extra stuff. And so some people that things that it means a lot to them, help them understand that this is a great time for them to start to detach themselves emotionally from the home. And that includes taking away those very specific personal items, religious things, family photos, like I say trinkets that could be offensive. Anything can be offensive these days. So, I mean, say what you will about it, but if there's something that's very blaring that needs to go, I would say take it off. I walked through a home, was it a few weeks ago, you know, in the basement, they had a graffitied wall in an unfinished basement, and it had a big, you know, like middle finger. It had like the birdie. So, and it was a beautiful house on the inside, all upstairs, but downstairs you go down and you're like, okay, this feels really weird, you know? And so those are the types of things that I would say get rid of. That we can get rid of those things. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? All right, next. Okay, so what I like to do is, as I am going through the home with my sellers, once like I've taken the listing and we've decided to have a deadline, I'll walk through the home with them and I'll say, hey, walk through the home with me, along with me, as if you were a buyer of this home. I want you to look and see with a very critical eye, what are things that would concern you as a buyer, right? And so it gives them a better perspective as to the reality of what their home is. Some people are still very like rose-colored glasses. They think their home is the absolute best and it deserves the absolute top dollar. But the majority of people are pretty reasonable. And when I'm walking through the home and they start pointing things out, I said, if you were the realtor or if you were, you know, buying this home, what would you point out? And so they start pointing out these things, right? And I say, okay, well, what would you do about that? How would you change that? And so it really gives them the opportunity to go through and see the things that they need to get done before we list, or to put in the seller's disclosures that would be of concern. Okay. So that's what I really love about that process of just walking that seller through it. It helps them start to stage their own home in the correct way, right? Okay, next. We're gonna repaint some walls. So good question here about if we have holes in the walls, things like that. So I think for me, if it looks really shoddy, like if you're looking at a wall, and I think you guys all understand this, if it's a great wall and it has just a little patch from like a little hole of a picture or something like that, I'd say if they have the extra paint to patch it, great, do it. Usually I recommend changing out the color of walls is when they're very taste specific and done very shoddily. Like if it's really crummy and it just needs a new paint, or if it has a graffiti, you know, bird, then I would say go through and paint it. But I am constantly surprised at how much just like a fresh coat of paint can do for a home. And not only that, does it like freshen everything up, it also makes it smell really, really good too. Yeah. Yes. So colors of paint. Sorry, I'll just rephrase what you just said. So no, she just asked if what color of paints that I suggest. So I usually do a lot of neutrals, depending on like what their home looks like. One type of paint that I absolutely love is pearly white, or alabaster white, both at Sherwin-Williams. They are such like classic colors that you can't really go wrong. It has a little bit of cream to it that can go with light and dark colors. So I usually like to go with very, very neutral colors, unless specifically like a color would just look amazing in that area. Again, you don't have to be an interior designer to do this type of thing, but allow them to understand that like it's time to depersonalize. And if they have a big purple wall, most people aren't going to want it in their house. So let's paint it. Okay. Because I'm sure you guys have all seen a really poorly painted home, and you think, if this was just done correctly, it would make all the difference, right? I look at it and I say, oh my gosh, this room would be incredible, or it makes it like, I would say it'd be incredible if it's a different color, or it usually makes it feel like it's cheap. If it's done incorrectly, it looks like it's cheap. And so getting the most out of it is always the issue. Like getting the most out of your home, those are some of the things, the issues that will come up. Okay. Any questions, people online? There are a lot of you guys online. No? Okay. Please jump in, you guys, if you have any cool stories too. Because I think staging is one of those things where I think all of us want to do it, and we want to know how to do it, but sometimes it's a little bit more difficult than tan walls. I think, yes, beige, not my favorite.
I think it's hard to feel like an expert for me right now. He wants me to go home and just say.
We get the remote. I mean the.
It's difficult. Yeah, feeling like an expert is a tough thing. You know, instilling the confidence in the seller.
So let's elaborate on this for a minute. So feeling like an expert in what way?
Oh, just the design, the cutesy feely. Put the pillow here. You know, for me, that's what I struggle with. You know, there's various aspects of real estate that people are strong at and weak at, but you know, staging, yeah, I think it's important to be the expert.
Perfect. So here's a question: if you don't feel like you are the expert, or you can't, you need to be the expert. Oh, sorry. Do you feel like you need to be the expert?
Yes, it depends. Maybe the client is needing that advice. Sometimes they might be more knowledgeable than me in that area, and they're willing to do it themselves,
Right.
or they should do it themselves.
Right. So this is a really good thing to say. I'll just throw this out there. You don't have to be the expert. And what I would say is, I would go through with them again if it comes to colors or textiles or anything that you don't feel comfortable with. I wouldn't go in that realm. I wouldn't even consult in that realm. I would, if I were you, and we'll go through the common mistakes that people make when they're staging that would actually probably be more geared towards what you would want to do. And you're just consulting them on, hey, this is what, as a realtor, I found that buyers really like. And as you're selling your home, keep these things in mind. If they want to know what color to do something, tell them to go and consult somebody that they know. Like, I would just kind of throw it back to them, or you have a stager that you trust to come in and help them, either one. But it's just kind of like, we don't give mortgage advice because we're not licensed mortgage officers. So we don't give, interior design advice if we really don't understand that realm, right? Does that make sense? So, because you don't want to do anything that would be detrimental to your relationship and the fluidity of your sale too. Okay. Okay. And then focus on important areas. Biggest thing, I think you guys all know this, are your kitchen, master bedroom, bathroom, and your main living space. I always, always, always make sure that those are my top 3. Hey, these are what we're going to focus on. And if the rest of the house is okay, I just leave it okay. But those are the 3 things that it'll make or break them. So you can only do so much dressing up of some spaces. Like, I don't know, have you ever seen an ugly kitchen that you're like, there is absolutely nothing I can do with this? Yeah, I think we all have been there. So recognize like your limitations, that we're not going to be going in and demoing and renovating everything. But you can also recognize what you can do or what they can do. And if it's not even worth saving, then just say, okay, well then as is, your price is this. Does that make sense? Sometimes some spaces are just not worth it, the time or energy. Okay. So those are the 5 rules, you guys. Now let's go through the top 5 mistakes that I find that happen, that I think that you guys can really, really like help deter it from happening, and just more consulting on this end, right? So this is something that I think is huge. Poor lighting. Okay. I cannot stress to you how much this makes a huge difference. If you guys go home to your houses right now and you look at your light bulbs across the board, are all your light bulbs the same, like soft white or LED or bright white? Are they all exactly the same? Probably not, because you buy different light bulbs and most people just grab whatever's there and available, right? I can't tell you that if you go in and you like make all of the light bulbs exactly the same lumen and color.
Kelvin is the color rating.
Huh?
Kelvin is the color rating.
Oh, Kelvin?
Yep.
There you go. Well, I do lumens, but that's.
Yeah, lumens is brightness.
Uh-huh.
But Kelvin is like yellow.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, but I do a very soft white and I do a very specific bulb. So when I go in and I talk to my clients, I show them exactly what they can go and buy at Costco or Walmart or whatever, and tell them to change out all of their lights and replace lights. Because there is nothing, I feel like this is the number one thing that I think anybody can do to make their space look so much better, no matter what. Like, and you know, when you're talking about like the tube lights that are, you know, the fluorescent tube lighting, if there's any way for them to not have bright white, it would be way better if they can get it soft, right? So go through, have your clients just change out their light bulbs. It makes a huge difference. And then they're gonna also find out which fixtures aren't working, because there's a lot of them that don't have like working fixtures.
Have you seen that people prefer the whiter light or the softer yellow light? Maybe the whiter light is more modern and fresh, but the yellow is classic.
The soft white. So I wouldn't say dark, like I'd say the soft white bulb is, and the reason why is it's more inviting. When you have more of a bright white, it feels a little more sterile. And it does depend on the different homes, right? There are some homes that it looks better with bright white, but I think that you're going to get a gauge for that just by what bulbs they have in their home right now. But either way, if it's soft white or bright white, it doesn't matter. If they're all the same, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, okay, regardless if it's white or yellow, they should be consistent.
Consistent. Yep. Hopefully that's helpful. I think that that's one of the biggest things that I find, or like just bulbs that are just out, because then it just makes the whole space darker. You don't feel the space very well. It feels uninviting. It has something to do with it. All right, guys, bad smells and cleanliness. How many have been into a house that smells really bad? Like really bad. Yeah, I know, me too. So one of the things is, well, do you guys feel comfortable talking to your sellers about smells of their home? No? Yes? Yes? No? Half and half. How about people online? No? Yeah, it's a hard thing to talk about because it's like, this is how they live. And it's hard to say, hey, your house smells bad, right? So how are some ways that you guys phrase talking to them about bad smells? Get the microphone.
So it's just typically my thought that people just aren't aware that it even smells in their house. It's not them and necessarily their lifestyle, but if they have cats and you live with cats, they're just used to the cat smell. They just don't even know. So just saying, hey, I know people who usually get used to the smells of their own house, but you may want to think about maybe putting some air fresheners up or something just to make it a little bit more inviting. I don't know. I've gone into places as an appraiser. The houses are super clean, super nice, but they have cats, and it ranks so bad in there. It's just so detracting from the house itself.
Totally, I agree. What do you say to people?
I just talk about the fact that they have pets, and that some people, when it goes to showing the house, remove all signs of animals. And I'm just really honest and saying like, hey, I totally get you have pets And when we show, we just don't want to show any signs of it. There could be people who don't like pets, are allergic to pets. And if they're allergic, we really want to make sure that it's really clean. So you take any signs of pets out of there. And I don't know, I got really lucky and all of my people have put air fresheners. So
Yeah.
I don't really have to have the conversation.
Okay.
But we had to tell people to pick up dog poo. So that's a thing too. With
Yeah. No, well, yeah, in the backyard,
Mhm.
because it happens. Yeah, there's a lot of different things that happen when you have a pet.
Mhm.
And even just with having kids, or again, cleanliness, if their general cleanliness is lower, their house just smells weird. Like there's a lot of just different smells. So some of the things that I do to combat that is, first of all, like in my value proposition, I talk to them, and I have, because it is very important for me, like the aesthetics of it. And I really believe aesthetics have a lot to do with the end sell, right? And the price point. So I actually, part of what I do is I hire a cleaner to come through the day before photos, and she goes in and she deep cleans their house. And so they get 4 hours with my cleaner, or depending on what size their house is, but it starts out with 4 hours with my cleaner, and the cleaner goes in and they just try to get everything. And they're trained to know if there's a smell, go wherever it is and get it out, right? So that's one thing. And then another thing that I do is, when I'm talking to them about smells and cleanliness, I just tell them, I just say, you know what, you want to make this the absolute best, because your first impression, you only get it once, right? And if they can smell something, see something that would deter them, you've lost it already. So, I just kind of go through all, like I cover all smells. I was like, I didn't see any pets, but just remember, there's weird smells in bathrooms, in laundry rooms, in kitchens, underneath the sinks. Basements tend to have it. And I just say, go through, and I said, put extra fresheners, go through and wipe everything down. So I kind of say it more as a blanket term, and people understand and they get it. A lot of them do. And the ones that really don't get it, they don't care. so I don't worry about that. But I would say I use it as that blanket statement, and they get it, and they take care of it.
So I was just going to say that, just as a general rule of thumb, like if you're first meeting with somebody about listing their home, my guess is that the smell often has to do with the clutter that's in their house. So as long as you're following through with your steps, I wouldn't even mention the smell at the beginning. Let's see if getting rid of 2/3 of the clutter will help reduce the smell. Let's see if just simply cleaning the house will reduce some of the smell, maybe fixing up some places. I mean, the smell may just go away as you clean up the house. And at the end, if that smell is still there, just recommend throwing in some air fresheners. I mean, it doesn't even have to be that big of a deal.
Yeah. And I go through this with all my clients, all the points. Like even if it doesn't smell, I still go through that, because at the end of the day, if they put in some nice air fresheners and their house doesn't smell, it just smells even better, right? So it just kind of covers it all for my people. Okay. All right. So here's another staging tip that you can have: daily living and clutter. So if they have mail, if they have just their coffee maker on the counter or blender or whatever, the more they can clean up before people come in, the better. And so I like to really just have my clients understand that, hey, you want to look like it's staged. I know you have a family of 3 kids or whatever, right? And it's really hard to do that. But what I usually say is, hey, for your everyday living stuff, have a tote ready that whenever you get a showing, you throw everything in that tote and you just take it out to the garage and put it by the stairs. And then when you come back in, you can bring it back in, right? So it's very simple. It's not like they're deep cleaning their house every time they have a showing. But I find that has really been helpful for people to just say, oh yeah, I can hurry and throw all my kids' toys. I don't have to put them back in every little space. I can just throw them all in this tote, take it out, and then bring it back. I don't care, So try and make the process simple for your clients, that they don't feel like they have to live in a museum, but that they can also show their home really well. Because sometimes these homes, like right now, we're not really in the market where homes are sitting on the market for a long time, but we will. We're going to see a shift in the market. We're going to see homes being on the market for 3 to 6 months, and it won't be that exciting for us. But, and you know, for our clients, having to have showings come on and off, sometimes 1, 2, 3 at a time, or 1, 2, 3 within a week, and it can disrupt their everyday life. So give them those tips, and it'll most likely go their way at least. All right, personal, we already talked about this, paint, personal styles and colors. If it's very, very intense, look at that red, you guys, come on. That used to be a style. Do you remember that? I don't know why. There's a lot of styles I'm glad that I hope that never come back. But I'd say, so, you know, personalized, like if it's really, really personalized, I mean, with older people, you're going to have like quilts and pictures and, you know, generational pictures, and, you know, or with young people, you might have some really weird things, and you're just like, okay, let's clean it up. Let's make it, you know, a little bit more neutral. And so that's what I would say is talk to them about like neutralizing their house. And if they don't know how to do that, bring somebody else in that can give them that information, right? And again, it's always weighing the pros and cons and if it's worth it to them. So any questions so far online, guys? These are really quiet today. All right, and then repairs. I want to iterate this because us as realtors, like our job is not to hide anything. It's to disclose everything correctly. And so I don't want staging to be an excuse to cover up any of the repairs. So as you're going through and you're staging and you're pointing things out, make sure that your clients are disclosing things in the seller disclosures. This is really annoying. I don't know why it's, there we go. I think that's it. Okay, is that better? No. Anyway, so so make sure that they're doing the repairs. Make sure that they are fully. Oh, it's. Oh. Is that better? Okay, if it starts doing. Oh. I think it's like the way I move. Nope. Okay. So so just make sure they're doing the repairs or they're disclosing them. I find that in a lot of like flipped homes, especially like the low end flipped homes, you see a lot of staging that is not necessarily intentionally, but they're staging that over a lot of repairs that need to be done. And I would highly suggest that you guys stay far away from that. If there's a repair that needs to be done, throw it out there. Let the agents know. Let the buyers know. Because that could be detrimental for your own business as well. So, okay. All right. So I'm going to show you guys some before and afters of staging things that I've done. Wait, first of all, any questions like when it comes to like staging? So let's go through a few things that I first have before I have, well, let's do the before and afters, and then I'll show you kind of some of the stuff that I use. So this is a cute little house up in Ogden that I staged, and I have to say, stick with like what they already have. So if you're wanting to stage and you're wanting to do some fun staging, and you want to start buying your own inventory, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Don't do anything crazy. Let the buyer do it, or let the seller do it, or hire somebody else that can come in and do it and that's paid for it. I'm gonna get that. It's driving me crazy. It's weird how it like with words. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me online. Anybody? Am I online? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So this is just a cute one. Like I said, with this one, it was very simple. When we went through, and maybe I should turn off this light so you guys can see it a little bit better. Are these the light? There we go. All right. So Really simple. Like, I mean, I really try not to like make so much, like make a huge deal out of it, but I do like to bring in some extra color, some extra textures. I will tell you, greens, like you can never have enough plants. I'm not joking. You can put plants anywhere. So all my plants that I have are fake, and I buy them at Home Goods, just places that are really inexpensive, because if they get broken or lost or whatever, they're easy to replace. So here we have, like, I just took down all of those maps. It was very taste specific, very kind of, it felt just old and weird. So that's why I set the table, made it a little bit more homey and fun. Fireplaces. So before it was just kind of this like little boring little thing, like it had a TV on there, and it just felt like, okay, this is just a house. When we put in simple things like plants and, like I said, just little trinkets, like you can always use what's it called, a lantern or a mirror or just a cute vase, and throwing in some of those the right kind of curtains. I can't even think of the words. And then throws. Throws are always a big deal. And also pillows. Pillows and throws, again, you can never have enough of those either. So if you're wanting to start your staging stuff, I say start out with plants, throws, and pillows. You don't have to have much more beyond that. Okay. And then let's see. Okay, so this is actually a renovation. So I do renovations too. So that's just a whole different world, and textiles and whatever. But if your clients are wondering, say they're a year out from when they're going to sell, and they ask, what should I do to renovate to make my home look better? I always just say, you know what, like, do your master bath, do your kitchen, do your living space, right? It's always important. So this was one of the renovations we did. And then this one is actually my personal home right here. And this is a fun one because there is nothing in here that has changed besides furniture. So can you guys see the difference? Just the whole, it makes it feel completely different by just placing the furniture in a very specific strategic way, having the right colors. The before was the previous owner. And so when I came in and wanted to put everything in correctly, it just kind of flowed a lot better. But you know, you see the dark curtains versus the light curtains. The wall color is exactly the same. I didn't put any paint on it. So just little things, you guys, like by just even moving furniture around in the correct spot can make a huge difference. This is the biggest thing that I love about staging is you can take whatever furniture is there and make it work for your client. Again, I don't know if you guys, can I ask whoever's on here, even online, how many of you guys are planning to get your own inventory or consult? I mean, like trying your hand at staging in general.
I bought quite a few things. It's Yvonne.
Oh, yeah, Yvonne.
Hey.
So you bought quite a few things.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's definitely helped.
Perfect. Who else?
Hi, Jackie. It's Lorraine.
Hi, Lorraine.
Hi. I have a lot, and when I see something that's perfect and neutral and can go anywhere, I always pick it up and add it to my collection. I have like a whole shed full, and it's just so awesome when you've got a listing and you know you're staging to be able to pull from your own warehouse. But it has taken a while.
Awesome. So Lorraine, can I ask you, over time, how have you built that? Do you put that into your budget? Do you just as you're out and about and you see something, you pick it up? What's your strategy on building your inventory?
Well, a little of both, but mostly after I have a closing, I will take so much from it and go out and see what I can find. And I don't buy just to buy, but I'll set that money aside. And, I first started with my towels and some basic items to set on counters, which is mostly greenery, pillows, basic, classy looking pillows, plaids, things that will go with everything. And I'm telling you, who has been my best mentor, she is fabulous, and that's Cindy Yates. And I started, with a little bit of her help. And then after you've staged a few homes, you just get better each time, and you see when it's done what you would change for the next time. And it's really fun, very satisfying. It builds your confidence by doing. The first few are really scary when you're totally on your own. I had 2 great agents help me do the very first one, which was an older home. And I thought, wow, when we got it done, that wasn't that hard. It's just knowing and kind of developing that eye for where and what. And it's great. It's fun. I really, really love it.
I do too. Thank you. That was super helpful. Yes. And I have to say, this is my favorite part, like I said, about real estate, is because you get to create, you get to do. And if you're planning to go in and invest into your own things, I agree. Just do a little at a time and allocate your budget for it. For me, it's really funny because I'll go, so I put it away in every single month. I'll put away budget for staging items. But we go shopping maybe every other month or so. And so every other month I'll go and do a big haul. And it's kind of funny because I've taken friends and family with me to go buy specific things. And it's like, I'm at home, or I'm at Home Goods or whatever, and I have 5 carts full of just stuff. So I'm just pulling everything that I want, throwing it in the cart, and going up to the front and putting it there until I'm done, right? And some people are like, this is the best shopping spree. They love going shopping with me, because it's like they get to spend my money and they feel like they're getting all this fun stuff. And so if you have clients and stuff, I include my clients whenever I do something like that, just because I think it's fun for them too. And so that's what I love doing. And I'll tell you, I'm a little less strategic than you, Lorraine. I go with a specific thing, as in I need rugs. So I'll go and I'll check out all the rugs and my favorite spots to go. And I'll do Wayfair as well. So I'll go online and buy things. But I actually just go with a very specific item in mind. But I kind of just buy a whole bunch of very neutral, very easy to use items that will just coincide with everything I already have. And so I do have specific group sets of bedroom sets, or, for a little boy's room, for a girl's room, for a nursery. There's certain things that I do have of sets that are very specific, but overall, almost everything I have is very neutral and can be interchanged. And so that's what I also love, is that it doesn't matter which bag I pull from my shed. It's all going to go together. Does that make sense? So, what else? What else would you guys like to know of my staging process, and what would help you? So that's a good question. All right. So what was your name again? Austin. Okay. Austin just asked, do I buy it brand new, or do I do online storage unit sales, just used items? I think I'd have to say the majority of it is brand new. because I have found that online actually isn't cheaper always. Like used isn't always cheaper. And because I found some really great places that have awesome deals, and because I'm a consistent like repeat customer, uh, they give me better incentives sometimes. So depending. But if there's like larger items, like for example, like a larger piece of furniture, like a couch or something like that, I'm very picky, but if I find one online that is significantly cheaper than what I can get, and you just kind of get a feel for that, then I go for it. And if it still looks brand new. So like I've purchased like lots of little cute like settee couches that are literally almost brand new, and somebody it just didn't work for their space, and they're just they're just selling it half off. You know, and so there's certain things that you can find, but more often than not, I wouldn't necessarily buy pillows or blankets or throws unless they're brand new, used, and they're discounting it. And you don't want used towels either. I don't know. Go ahead. Yeah, so I typically don't like do like a full stage unless it's a home that we're renovating and flipping. So I'll go in and I'll put in the furniture like that. But usually I just go with what I have. Does that make sense? So I will just dress it up. It's amazing what like bedding and like pictures on the wall can do with greenery. So usually if it's an ugly piece of furniture, you can just like, you can kind of get away with it if you put the right things on it. Yeah.
I have a question. I'm online.
Yes.
How do you handle clients who tell you that, oh, they love decorating, they don't need any help, and the house desperately needs help? Like, how do you handle that?
So that's a hard thing, is like if they love to decorate and they want their home a very specific way, then I would still respect that. But I also recognize that setting expectations is a huge part. So what I would do is I would tell them to, like, first of all, hey, perfect. Yeah, you can decorate it how you want it, but I would still show up right before photos, and I would go in and change the things that would be kind of bad. Does that make sense? Like if you're to take certain things out of the picture, things like that. So you can somewhat control it, but at the same time, the seller owns a home, and you've got to respect that. So that's what I would do. If they really want to decorate and do their own thing, great. And another really powerful tool that I think is underutilized is the realtor home tour. Have you guys tried it? Yeah, have you done it? It's awesome. So you can put your listing on the home tour for the MLS and the UCAR. It's at UCAR that you go and put it on. And realtors they do this every week for different areas, but realtors go and walk through the home and give feedback. So it's not coming from you as their realtor, but it's coming from a whole large amount of professionals that do this on a daily basis. So if they have a very specific taste that you don't necessarily think it will fly, put it on the realtor tour before you guys take pictures and before you guys go live. And that would help you give them a better feedback. I did a realtor tour. So for example, I had this beautiful like Tudor house down in Springville that was, we were listing $750. It was, a little bit higher end. And the lady who owned the home, she had just some really gaudy things, like crystals hanging from things and feather boa stuff. It was really weird. It was odd and awkward and whatever. But I tried to explain to her, like, we need to tone it down. And her toning it down was literally, rolling up a rug or, but all the things stayed. So I ended up having a realtor tour, and that was so instrumental because she was there during the realtor tour, and she was watching their faces and watching their reactions. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's something that she needed, because it wasn't getting through to her until that time. When she got all the feedback back, she internalized it, and she literally, I'm not joking, from the realtor tour, and 2 days later we had our photos. She had completely taken down everything that was negative. And so that's one of those things that you can absolutely use, because realtors are very, like, they're pretty clear on what needs to happen. And I think that our clients take it to heart. Good question. What else? Oh, yeah.
So with you putting your stuff into a seller's home, people coming to view the home, do you worry at all about kids running, knocking them down, breaking them? That's part of the job.
So the question is, and so I'm just reiterating for the people online. Am I worried about my items, since they're in somebody else's home, being damaged or broken or, stolen, right? Taken with them when they move. And I have to say, it is part of the job for me. I'm not super worried about it. I do think it's important for us to know what our inventory is. So I do keep a track of what things I put in different homes. And I use what we call sortly for that. So every item that I take to a home, I'll have like an inventory list, so that when I'm going to pick it up, I make sure that I pick them all up, because sometimes you just miss things. And I did that too many times and lost too many things over amount of time because I just wasn't paying attention. And so having a system is good. And then on the flip side, one thing that I would say is, if you don't want to have to replace things, don't provide towels, because white towels will get damaged, they will get used, and that's one of the hard parts, is keeping those white towels white. Other than that, I'm really not super worried, because I do go through with them, hey, if anything is damaged, we will put it in the closing, right? So I do actually say that up front. We'll put that in the closing, and I do give them the inventory list once it's in their house. I email them everything that's in the home that I put there. So yeah, and I put the price on it too, so that they understand. But I haven't had anybody ruin anything yet. I've been the one who's actually dropped and broke more things than anybody else. So, and I think that, and again, put the right things inside the right houses. So don't go putting really expensive, nice things where there's kids. Just be realistic about it. And if you are going to put it in there, put it for the photos and then take it right out with you. Okay. All right, guys. Oh yeah. I do. So the question was, do I keep the house staged during showings? And I definitely do. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's another good point. Keep it staged for when they walk in, because you don't want the letdown. But if you're just putting things in just for certain photos, that's okay too. No one's going to notice like one thing here or there from photos that's missing when they walk through the house, but keep it pretty similar to it. So, okay. Any more questions, you guys? Bless you. Okay. I'm going to open the door here for all of you guys to understand, like to know that I am happy for you guys to come and see my inventory and see what I have, just so you can get an idea. You're more than welcome to ask me questions. I'm more than happy to help. I will be staging, so I'm doing a flip right now, and a couple of flips right now. So I will be starting to go through and stage those in the next couple of months. If any of you guys would like to come and walk through it with me, or even be a part of it, you're more than welcome to. And so you can kind of get some ideas of staging and what I do, and how truly haphazard it really is. It's not necessarily as as strategic as some people think. There's strategy to it, absolutely, but because I've chosen very neutral colors and to mix and match, it makes the process so much more simple. Okay. All right. It's really quiet in here, but hey, Have a great day, you guys. Thank you. If you have any questions, please feel free to text me or message me on Facebook. And I'm happy to help out. Okay. Thanks, guys.